From this angle, it looks a lot like I'm standing in front of a Mazda CX-5. But from this angle, it looks more like I'm standing in front of a CX-9. And from this angle, it looks a bit like I could be standing in front of either of them. It's actually the new CX-8, which combines a lot of CX-5 and CX-9 elements to create a new model that sits between them. This means it's got a similar 7-seat layout to the CX-9 and the same longer wheelbase, but the narrower width of the CX-5 to make it a bit more manoeuvrable than the big CX-9. And so it's kind of Mazda's answer to the emerging trend of 7-seat mid-size SUVs like the CR-V, Kodiaq, 5008, Outlander, X-Trail and the upcoming Tiguan Allspace. But it's the only non-European that brings a longer wheelbase to the party, which gives it back seat space that knocks on the door of bigger CX-9 rivals like the Santa Fe, Sorento, Kluger and Pathfinder. Unlike the broad variant ranges of the CX-5 and CX-9, you can only get 3 levels of CX-8, with the base Sport 2-wheel drive undercutting the base CX-9 by just over $1,000, or about the same as a middle-of-the-range CX-5 diesel. Then the CX-8 Sport all-wheel drive adds another $4,000 before a $15,000 leap to the top-spec CX-8 Asaki, which comes in just over $3,000 cheaper than the top-of-the-range CX-9. In a nutshell, it's a bit cheaper than the CX-9 at either end of the range. The CX-8 Sport comes with most mod cons, including all the important safety gear, which you can read all about in the full review, but the Asaki adds things like leather seat trim with seat heaters for the first 2 rows, heated steering wheel, Bose stereo, real wood trim, rear window blinds, a power tailgate, proximity keys, a 360-degree camera system, front parking sensors, and the best way to pick it on the outside is its bigger 19-inch alloys. Does that sound like an extra $15,000 worth? I'm not sure. I'm in the Asaki right now, and up the front it looks a lot like the CX-5 Akera, but the CX-8 gets real wood trim, and the Nappa seat leather is a cut above the norm. This is also the CX-9 centre console. In the second row it's more like the CX-9, with the same legroom and the sliding rear seat, but the narrower body will mean it'll be harder to fit 3 adults across the back, and if you want to squeeze 3 child seats in here, you want to choose your seats very carefully. Entering the third row is about the same as the CX-9, thanks to the long doors that open to 80 degrees, and while the legroom is pretty much the same as its bigger brother, the headroom is pretty tight for my 172 centimetres, so best keep the third row for kids then. The CX-8 retains all the other usual practicality elements, including bottle and cup holders for all 3 rows, 12-volt and USB points, and there's tri-zone climate control, but no individual ventilation for the third row. Despite the CX-8 having a shorter rear overhang than the CX-9, you can still fit useful stuff behind the third row. And with the third row folded, there's thankfully significantly more space than the CX-5. Some of you will be surprised to see that you can only get the CX-8 with a diesel engine, but it's the same excellent 2.2 litre twin turbo unit that's been recently revised for the CX-5 and Mazda 6. My first impression behind the wheel is very diesel CX-5, which of course is a good thing. Driving around you do feel the extra length, and for the most part that's a good thing as it improves ride comfort with less pitching forward and rearwards. You can also feel the extra length when chucking a U-ey or parking, as the turning circle is expanded quite a bit over the CX-5's. As always, this diesel makes for relaxed cruising, but you can feel the extra 200 kilos of weight over a CX-5. So it's not quite as sprightly, but it's still got enough for overtaking on the highway. And it's still more nimble than most large SUVs. I do think the CX-8 could be a better package with the more powerful turbo petrol from the CX-9, but the diesel's efficiency would probably win over plenty of buyers, particularly with the epic range suggested by the 72-litre fuel tank. Well done, Mazda. You've successfully bridged the gap between the CX-5 and the CX-9. The CX-8 could only really be better with maybe the CX-9's turbo petrol engine and perhaps a few more trim levels, but it's a good thing. The sweet spot of the range, I'd say, would be the Sport 2-wheel drive, given it comes with all the important features I think are necessary, and it definitely presents the best value equation. If you're after more detail, check out the full review on carsguide.com.au, and don't forget to hit subscribe to stay on top of all our latest videos.